So we are on day 3 of 8.2 now. Okay, the first day we found sine, cosine, given all 3 sides, yes? The second day we found the missing parts, hypotenuse or legs of a triangle using sine, cosine, and tangent, correct? Now we probably should use and find angles. Got it? Okay, so in order to find an angle, if I have these equations, I have sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse, correct? And when I needed opposite or hypotenuse, I just multiplied and divided whatever I needed, correct? Yeah? But this time I need to get to that angle. The problem with getting to that angle is that angle's in the function, isn't it? So, in order to get to that angle, we have to take the inverse. That means undo it. Take it out of there. Inverse switches the inputs and the outputs. So we put in x's and we get out y's into an equation, correct? So an inverse, and you'll learn more about them in Algebra 2, will take those inputs and outputs and switch places. So then I can get the input. I can figure it out. So how we do that is it is sine, and we say inverse sine, of opposite over hypotenuse. So how do you think I would use cosine? Oh, that equals theta. So it would be inverse cosine of adjacent over hypotenuse gives me theta. See how that's giving me the angle? The input and the output, what did they do? Did they switch places? Everyone see what's happening. Okay, this button is in your calculator under that trig button. If you kept arrowing down, did you see the invert, the -1? So tangent, inverse tangent, and we just say inverse tangent of what over what? What's tangent?
Adjacent. Oh, sorry, I was doing cosine.
Opposite over adjacent equals theta. So does this all make sense? So we decide which one we use the same way we decided which one we used yesterday. What do I have? What do I want? You understand? Okay, so this first example says, what is the measure of the largest acute angle? So that would be one of these two, correct? So how do I know which one's larger? We went through this yesterday with finding...
It's the opposite of the biggest.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the largest leg, right? So we're looking at which angle. Is this blue okay, or would you rather me write in red? Is it okay? Okay.
So when we find the longest leg, you don't use that because it's not a leg. Right?
You use what you have. Now this one I gave you everything, yes?
Yeah.
But on your problems you won't have everything. You'll just have 2 parts. And so you have to decide from that. Does that make sense?
Have all of them?
If you have all of them, you can pick. We're just going to happen to do it with all of them. Okay, so first we're going to use sine. Oh, let's label them. What's 13? A-H or O?
H.
H. What's 12?
Adjacent or opposite.
Opposite of the theta, right? Of that angle. What's 5? Adjacent. So again, I told you we're going to do all 3 of them. Just to show you that they're the same. Got it? Okay, so we're going to use sine first. So the inverse sine of opposite 12 over 13. And these are going to be well, that equals theta, yes? And then when we put it in our calculator, we're going to have an approximate. Unless for some reason it comes out exactly like 35. Got it? Okay, so the inverse cosine would be what over what? 5 over 13. And that's going to equal theta, and we're going to get an approximate answer from the calculator. So without a calculator, you have all this. When I give you your test, I am grading your exact. The calculator portion is like extra. Does that make sense? Okay, tangent, inverse tangent is what over what? Opposite over hypotenuse. So 12 over,
It's not over hypotenuse.
oh yes, I said hypotenuse.
12 over 5.
Adjacent, yes, 5. Thank you for correcting me. Equals theta and, okay, so let's put these in our calculator. So how do you think we put that in our calculator?
The same way.
The same way. You hit inverse sine. Where do I find inverse sine?
Oh,
Where do I find it?
you have to press the button.
You have to hit which button?
The second.
The trig button, right? The trig button right there. So then in second, and I have to go to inverse. Are the first 3 inverses? Why not?
Because they're.
Because they don't have the -1 on them, do they? That's what makes these inverses. So go down and just click enter. And 12 divided by 13. If you guys have questions, you need to be stopping me, not talking to each other. If it's not working, you probably don't have enough light. Okay. So you should get approximately 67.4. Is that what you get? Okay. So, what should the rest of them be? What should all the rest be? What? Every single one of these. Sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent. What should my answer be?
67.4.
So do it and make sure you get it. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds, so you better do it quick. Now, if I put the wrong ratios in, am I going to get the right answer? No. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So I got 67.4 on all of them, did you?
Yep.
Okay. Make sense? Okay. So now we're not going to touch that again, but I wanted to do the calculator one time with you guys. Okay, so we're just going to set these up and put an exact answer. How's that sound? We'll go much quicker, won't it? Okay, it says, what are the measures of A and B? So I guess we'll start with A. Right here. So, of A, what do I have? What's 1 and what's 4?
The hypotenuse and the adjacent.
So 4 is the hypotenuse and 1 is the adjacent. So if I have the adjacent and the hypotenuse, am I using sine, cosine, or tangent? Cosine. Okay, and I'm looking for an angle, so I'm using the what cosine? What word do I keep using? Inverse. And write it up here, guys. Inverse. If you didn't, it's inverse. Okay, so inverse cosine. So angle A equals inverse cosine of adjacent over hypotenuse. Make sense? And then we have to put it where now? To get an approximate answer, where does it have to go? In the calculator. Okay? So angle B. So angle B, well, 4 is still the hypotenuse, but 1 is now the what? Opposite. Because we're talking about angle B. So what's opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. Okay? So the sine, inverse sine, of what over what? 1 over 4. And when I do these, what do they have to be of each other? A and B. Not equal. It starts with an S.
Same.
What's that word? What do they have to add up to be? 90. So what's that word? Oh, it doesn't.
Complementary.
Complementary. It doesn't start with an S. I can't spell evidently. Okay, so I'm doing it in my calculator real quick because I think I probably can do it faster than you, but maybe not. Okay, I got 75.5 and 14.5. Do those add up to 90? Yes. Well, they always add up to 90 if you did it right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What did I say? 75.5
76.
and 14.5? Okay.
So if it's 6, if it's like 75.6, you round up. Oh no, never mind.
No, you're rounding. You're using the hundredth to round the tenth. Okay, why don't you guys try the next one on your own? A and B. Oh, and they gave you all 3 parts on that one, didn't they? So can you choose?
Mhm.
Oh. I'm going to take this one away. There is a square root button on your calculator. You just put square root. I took that one away from you. That way we all have to use the same ones. I would advise you to start getting tails on your T's. You need to grow tails. So I got approximately 59.0 degrees and 31.0 degrees. Okay, why did I have to put 0.0? Because it told me to the nearest what? 10th. Did you guys use inverse tangent? Did you set it up right? Okay, that's what I was concerned about. I got S and T. Do we need one more? You want to do one more on your own? How about this one? You do one more on your own and you put it in your calculator. We make sure you got it all right. And that's our last. We aren't going to do the story problem. You guys ready? Check.
You say we are or are not doing the.
We are not. Okay, did you get 23.6 degrees for S and 66.4 degrees for T? Questions? What do you use when you want to find an angle? What kind of function? Inverse. Okay? When you want to find an angle, you use what? Say it again. Inverse. Now, if I had 23.6, could I just subtract that from 90 to find this one? Yeah. But what if I did this wrong? What would happen to this one? That would be wrong too. So when you look at them, make sure they add up, guys. Make sure that 6 and 4 make 10, so it rounds to exactly 90. If you give me 89.8 as a total, you're wrong. You rounded wrong, correct? If you give me 90.2, are you wrong? Yes, because what are those two angles together? Exactly what? 90. Any questions before I give you a worksheet? What are you going to do first before you start messing with the calculator? You're going to do all the problems like this, right? And then when you're all done, you're going to go back into your calculator. You need to do yesterday's and today's. Got it? Okay. Should be pretty easy, shouldn't it?